Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. If you haven't already, please take a second
just to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So let's get straight to it.
Putin has finally finished his meetings with Kim Jong-un and the glazing went crazy. For starters, Putin arrived at 3 a.m. in the morning, several hours late, which is actually something he has a reputation for. It's said that how late he is a sign of what level of respect he has for the other party. He was 4 hours late with Germany, 3 hours late with Japan, 80 minutes for the United Nations, and 50 minutes late for Pope Francis. China is the only country he has never kept waiting. He was greeted by Kim on a red carpet, they shared a bro hug, he was given some of the nicest flowers I've ever seen, but when it came to who gets in the car first, neither of them would budge. When Putin finally conceded and got in, they were followed by what looks like every police bike in the country. North Korea even lit up their infamous abandoned hotel with words like friendship and welcome Putin despite their country's chronic electricity shortage. When the morning arrived, they put on a massive ceremony with thousands of spectators lined in neat rows, hundreds of people waving Russian flags. He had military marches, balloons, bands, cannons, confetti, towering portraits of the two leaders, and the list goes on. Putin then gifted Kim with a luxury Russian car called the Oris Senat, priced at about $300,000. They then had a one-on-one meeting behind closed doors for about 2 hours, in which it is reported that they signed a comprehensive strategic partnership agreement that provides mutual help in the event of aggression against either of them. That is massive. NATO has responded to this by saying this demonstrates that our security faces a threat that is not regional but global.
Wow, interesting enough, the United Nations consider this a global threat. Shout outs to Dylan Page. Man, I didn't know that. But how you gonna be 50 minutes late to see the Pope? It's crazy, the lack of respect. And China was the only one he was on time. Says a lot. So yeah, this is eye-opening stuff. Yeah, like they went all out for this one. That abandoned hotel lit up. That was pretty tight.
The friendship between Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un has flourished into an outright bromance. During the Russian president's latest visit to North Korea, his first in 24 years, Putin gifted Kim, who's a luxury car enthusiast, an RS limousine, which retails for about $300,000, and the pair were seen going on a joyride with Putin behind the wheel. The gifts didn't stop there. Putin gave Kim a tea set and a dagger, and in return, Kim reportedly gifted Putin artwork. At the same time, North Korea is believed to be supplying Russia with artillery for the war in Ukraine. The alliance became even more clear today when the pair signed an agreement that promised mutual aid if either country faces aggression from another nation. If that isn't proof of the burgeoning bromance, just look at how the pair greeted each other this week, hugging and laughing while Kim pulled out all the stops for his pal's arrival. As the two states become increasingly isolated amid sanctions from the rest of the world, this could be the beginning of an even closer strategic relationship.
Bro took him on a date. The carpool karaoke I didn't know we needed.
Within the last 24 hours, we had 3 major events take place that can change this world. They just vandalized the Stone Age. Putin just met with North Korea and they found more monoliths all around the world. People believe Putin meeting with North Korea is no regular meeting. They're getting the world ready for the third world conflict. I believe it. The second major event that took place within 24 hours was the Stonehenge. People actually vandalized the Stonehenge. Do you know how important this really is? The Stonehenge is connected directly to the summer solstice, which is taking place tomorrow. Ancient people believe during this day, if you stand in between these stones, you can get pieces of energy from the sun. Not only that, they really believe that these doorways between these stones is a portal that can take you to a different planet. Stonehenge is so old, it goes back to prehistoric history. They really believe these stones are aligned perfectly with the sun. The third major event that took place that could change everything is these monoliths. They found more monoliths. This time they found it in Las Vegas, but it looked just like a mirror. Since the year 2020, they found about 87 different monoliths all around the world. No one knows where it came from and people still don't know the purpose of it. I believe these scientists do know the real purpose of these monoliths. And I'm about to tell you exactly what it means. It was a movie director by the name of Stanley Kubrick. He made a movie called 2001 Space Odyssey. And do you know what he put in these movies? He put a black monolith inside of his movies. And this monolith was created by alien life forms. They use this monolith as a form of technology so they can watch our growth. They know when we was created and they know when we was going to end. These aliens watch our reality or our dimension like it's a regular TV show, but they don't use TVs. They use these monoliths. They are recording all kind of information and data about all of us, but the scientists don't want to tell us this because people are going to be afraid. The elites know 2024 will be the first year we make physical contact with different life forms in this universe. So while these people are making meetings about the third world conflict, these aliens will actually come here and stop all the conflict in this world. Watch it happen.
I hope it doesn't happen. Shout outs to Organic Like Us. The Stonehenge vandalism? I'm like, yo, they didn't have to do that. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Sometimes, I try to, get where they're coming from, like throwing paint, a portrait in an art gallery. Like, okay, but the hinges, I don't know. I think it was a swing and a miss.
Hitler had been looking into ancient documents, ancient texts, tablets, stones, and scrolls, papyruses from all around the world. He had been sending his troops all around the world, even to Tibet, to talk to these wisdom keepers and sages about ancient knowledge of advanced technology. He already knew that there was an advanced civilization on Earth, and he wanted to tap into that so that he can use that to take over the world. They discovered that there's a hole inside of Antarctica and that there were people there, and he wanted to access their knowledge because they had access to advanced technology. The Diglaka was one of the machines he built based on this ancient text that was able to warp space and time. It was almost like a time machine. And this thing, when activated inside of what they call a hinge, it actually disappeared and nobody knows where it went.
Let me find out Call of Duty Zombies is real. That's what it sounded like. That's crazy. That's my first time hearing this theory outside of the game.
Why do some people think that World War II Germany had super advanced tech? Well, in the grand scheme of things, they did. But there's this conspiracy that I'm not saying is true about a more mystical technology that they had called Diglaka. Which Diglaka was this giant bell that some claim existed that was basically anti-gravity technology. It was said to be about 12 feet tall, be highly radioactive and produce a glowing blue light, and basically be like a Taco Bell flying saucer. And allegedly they had to build this concrete ring called the hinge, which really assembled Stonehenge for some reason, in order to tether it for tests. But at the end of the war, a German officer called Hans Kammler traded this tech to the US military in exchange for his freedom, which German World War II people trading knowledge to the US for freedom was definitely something real that actually happened. Look up Operation Paperclip. But this whole bell thing is claimed to be a hoax by mainstream reviewers, so tell me what you think in the comments and follow for more.
was that? What? Oh shit. Let me get back. That's behind. Oh shit. Somebody's down here. Somebody talking. Somebody's down here.
Good thing he made it out alive. It's the risk you take when you go exploring.
What do you think the probability of another 9/11 attack?
I think exactly how it's done. It is hard to replace Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, KSM, who planned it. I'm not going to lie. He was a genius. Do they want to do something at that level? Yes. Do I think that they will do something more innovative than 9/11? Definitely. Remember, they tried it with obviously the liquids on the airplanes. I think the next attack will probably be something more innovative. I don't think it's going to be 3,000, but I don't think it's going to matter if it's 3,000 because they want to hit here and they want to show they can do it and they want to do something spectacular.
The Pentagon, CNN's military affairs correspondent Jamie McIntyre. And Jamie, you got very close to where that plane went down.
That's right, Judy. A while ago, I walked right up to next to the building. Firefighters were still trying to put out the blaze. The fire, by the way, is still burning in some parts of the Pentagon. And I took a look at the huge gaping hole that's in this sideway. But from my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. The only site is the actual side of the building that's crashed in, and as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you could pick up in your hand. There are no large tail sections, wing sections, a fuselage, nothing like that anywhere around.
My love and prayers to all the victims of the families of 9/11. Listening to this makes me want to do some research. That was pretty crazy what he said. Yo, that was crazy. A French family moves into a house next to a graveyard, and for weeks they've been hearing screams. Sound like tormented souls. Someone who's been buried alive or something. Creepy.
Ridgely Hospital was a women's psychiatric hospital in Lancaster, UK that operated for almost 100 years from 1916 to 2013. Famous for being one of the first psychiatric hospitals in the UK that fought for the humane treatment of mentally ill patients, Ridgely Hospital housed thousands of patients and used modern treatment methods such as electroconvulsion therapy to help patients with a range of disorders, from severe depression to obsession to mania. In April 2022, YouTuber Exploring with Tom visited the site with 3 of his friends in the middle of the night. Throughout their visit, they were extremely loud and not aware of their surroundings, which is obviously not the best idea when exploring an abandoned building. Keep in mind that most of these abandoned buildings are still considered government property, which makes it illegal to trespass and explore the grounds. Still, if you disturb a hostile squatter's home by being obnoxiously loud, getting arrested would probably be the least of your worries.
We're not scared of you.
But I am scared of you. I think someone is doing that, to be honest with you. What the?
After hearing some strange noises coming from one of the rooms, the 4 explorers call out to see if there's anyone in the building, and this is where things get a little disturbing.
There's someone there. Someone there. Just be serious. It might be. Might need help.
Hello? Hello? What? Go! Everyone okay? Everyone okay? Keep calm. Keep calm. Man! What the? Don't hurry up! Get out! Get out! Get out! What do you want? He's right there! He's right there!
As soon as one of the teenagers calls out, a man can be heard screaming from inside the room. Without thinking twice, Tom and his friends make a run for it back to their car, but disturbingly, the man isn't satisfied with just scaring them out of the building and ends up chasing them all the way to their car. It's unknown who the man was or what he wanted from them, but one of the theories that's been echoing in the comments is that he was probably a homeless person who got upset at the amount of noise Tom and his friends were making. It's probably not too pleasant to have 4 rowdy teenagers burst into the abandoned building you call your home and start yelling, laughing, and swearing. But still, it's good they were able to get away unharmed.
Yes, luckily they got away. Shout outs to Depths of Despair. That one was kind of spooky. Suddenly, things weren't so funny.
Hold up. Does Hollywood and the CIA work together? What this lady says is insane.
Well, before we say Hollywood was created by the CIA, I guess I should clarify because, first off, you guys do know the Pentagon has a budget for film. There's a whole department. I know that. That's a fact. There you go. That's all you need to know. There's an entire department in the Pentagon. They get involved with films, and they get involved with films for the purpose of propaganda. They always have. Wow. I should have said Pentagon instead of CIA. Tons of them. I should show you the list.
You didn't know that, your mind was probably
wild. Yeah, Pentagon Department for Hollywood, tons of them. Even Transformers. Even Transformers, because they're concerned about certain narratives. They get involved with World War films, how are we telling a story about history? Usually it's because we're lying about what we did or trying not to make Americans aware of the crimes against humanity that we commit overseas,
Yeah, the Pentagon just funded some films. Black Hawk Down, Red Dawn, GoldenEye.
The more you know. So now you understand your experience in theaters is what your government wants you to think. They want you to think that this is how things happen, and it's usually not at all how things have actually happened.
6 of the best movies made with help from the Department of Defense. This is military.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said CIA. I should have just said the government. But
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Red Dawn, Apollo 13.
Mm-hmm. It's all about
Iron
just...
Man?
Iron Man. Oh, my God. I didn't know that was on the list.
The Marvel movie.
Maybe that's interesting. Now you said...
What? Iron Man. Nah, that's her limit right there. She was like, you know what? Now it's crazy.
What is the point of that? Just control?
Yeah. Propaganda. It's crazy. You grow up in school and you think propaganda belongs to the East or something.
Shout out to Candace Owens in the Breakfast Club. It's weird time. Candace was definitely spilling the beans. think a lot of us were surprised Iron Man was on that list, but not surprised at the same time. Real Terrence Howard vibes.
So this man, his name's Antoine. And one night, Antoine is rushed into the emergency room. He's in pain and he's bleeding. He has huge bite marks on him, mostly his arm and leg. And he tells them that he got attacked by a pit bull. But the doctors, they start examining his wounds and they get suspicious. Cause these bite marks are awfully big to be coming from a pit bull. So then what the hell attacked him? Now around this time, police, they get an anonymous tip telling them that a wild animal must be on the loose in the city because they believe it had bit someone. And then they give the police the address to this apartment in Harlem. So police, they go to this apartment to investigate. And they can't get in. But oddly, they can hear something inside growling through the front door. And they're like, what the f*** is in here? So they go to the neighbor's place and they get a drill and they drill tiny holes in the wall so that they can see into this apartment. And then they stick a camera through that hole and that's when they see a 400-pound Siberian tiger just chilling in this New York apartment. So, how did this tiger get there? Well, let's go back to Antoine. Antoine is 31, he's a part-time taxi driver, and he really loves animals. In fact, he loves animals so much that one day he illegally buys a lion cub and a tiger cub from an exotic animal trainer in Minnesota. And then he brings them back to New York to live with him in his public housing apartment in Harlem. Now, in this apartment, Antoine already has a 5-foot-long caiman living there with him, named Al. And so I guess he also now has a lion and a tiger. What could possibly go wrong? Now, the lion was apparently sick when Antoine bought him, so he doesn't live very long in the apartment before he, unfortunately, passes away. But the tiger cub, he doesn't die. In fact, Antoine raises him there in that apartment, and he names him Ming. And he gives Ming his own room, and he builds him a sandbox to play in. He bottle feeds him until he can graduate to solid food, and they become best friends. And then 3 years go by, and Ming is no longer a cub. He's now a 400-pound, fully grown Siberian tiger. And he's still living in this public housing Harlem apartment with Antoine and Al. And he's so big, Antoine is allegedly feeding him 20 pounds of chicken a day. Cause yeah, tigers eat a lot. Now you would think this would go horribly wrong. Like a man and a huge tiger secretly living in an apartment together? But no, so far it all seems to be going fine. Until one day, Antoine finds an abandoned house cat outside his door. So, being the animal lover that he is, he brings it in and he adopts him. And he names him Shadow, and he gives Shadow his own room, away from Ming. And then, about a week later, Antoine and Ming, they're wrestling. Because I guess that's how they normally play together. And Shadow just happens to get out of his room. And Ming catches one glimpse of him, and he just snaps right into wild animal mode. And he just leaps into action, and he starts chasing Shadow around the place, trying to catch him and destroy him. And Antoine, he thinks fast, and he throws himself in front of Ming and between him and Shadow. And then Ming ends up tackling Antoine, and Antoine clings to him to keep him from chasing Shadow. And that is when Ming grabs a hold of Antoine's neck and bites down. And then he bites his arm, and then he locks onto his knee. And there he doesn't let go. So there he is, Antoine, with his knee in this Siberian tiger's mouth. And it stays there for about 3 minutes before Ming finally lets him go. And then Ming goes and he hides in the bathroom because he knows he's in trouble. He's a bad kitty. But Antoine, he's hurt. Really bad. So he calls paramedics and they rush him to the hospital, and that is where he lies and tells them he was attacked by a pit bull. Because he's worried they're going to find out about Ming and then they're going to come and take his tiger away. So anyway, back to the police. Police are in the neighbor's apartment and they look through the hole that they had drilled in the neighbor's wall. And they see a fully grown tiger just chilling there. So officers are like, holy shit. And they have to get together and come up with a plan to get this 400-pound beast out of this apartment without getting eaten. So here's what they come up with. Police has one of the officers rappel down the side of the building with a tranquilizer pew-pew. And he rappels down until he gets to the apartment. And there, at the window, he looks in and he spots Ming. So he aims his tranquilizer pew-pew through the bars of the window, and then boom! he shoots Ming with a dart right in the butt. And as you could probably guess, Ming, he doesn't like that so much. So he gets pissed off and he gets up and he charges at the window and he slams up against it. And at that very moment, someone snaps a photo. And you can see the officer dangling there, and Ming is coming for his ass. But eventually, luckily, Ming does pass out from the tranquilizer. And police, they go into Antoine's apartment and they remove him and Al and they relocate both of them. And then, of course, bam, they arrest Antoine. And I don't have his mugshot, but here's a picture of him in real life. And he gets charged with reckless endangerment and possession of a wild animal. And he goes to court and he's found guilty and he's sentenced to 5 months in prison. So, then what happened to all his animals? Well, luckily, Shadow survived. He actually did not get eaten. Here's a picture of Antoine holding him. And Al, the caiman, he was actually rehoused to a proper animal sanctuary over in Indiana. And Ming, well, Ming was also relocated to an animal sanctuary, one in Ohio that houses a lot of other big cats. And there he had lots of room to run around and play, he had a place to swim, and he had lots of tiger friends. And Ming actually lived there until he was 19, which is old in tiger years. And then, unfortunately, he passed away from natural causes.
I'm happy Antoine's still alive. My man had a tiger in the projects and then brings a cat into the apartment and all hell breaks loose. That's crazy. That tiger was big. Shout outs to the real Ray William. This one was off the chain. Tigers should stay in a zoo or in their natural habitat, but not at home, especially not the projects.
The Proper People is an urban exploration channel owned by Brian and Michael, two friends who travel the world in search of abandoned buildings. For the past 10 years that their channel has been active, Brian and Michael have built up a reputation for being a trustworthy channel that only uploads genuine footage of their explorations. In a niche of YouTube that's often plagued by cheap, fake footage from people trying to get their 15 minutes of fame, The Proper People has endured as one of the most reliable channels in the urbex space. They gained their fame from explorations of genuinely cool places instead of faking creepy encounters or anything of the such. In 2016, they uploaded a video of their nighttime visit to the Jemison Center in Northport, Alabama, often referred to as Old Bryce Hospital. From 1939 to 1977, the Jemison Center housed hundreds of psychiatric patients and acquired a reputation for treating them pretty harshly. Often referred to as the creepiest building in Alabama, Old Bryce was closed in the late 70s and has since been reclaimed by nature and become a hotspot for urban explorers from all over the world. As Michael and Brian approach the location in their car, there doesn't seem to be anyone around, and after driving around the grounds for a while, the two YouTubers get out of their vehicle to begin exploring, settling on the basement as the first area to explore. After more than 4 decades of abandonment, the entire complex is almost completely destroyed, and while some of the walls are completely covered in all kinds of graffiti, some of them aren't even there anymore. With the state of disrepair of the Jemison Center, there's always a chance that the structure could collapse on itself and trap Brian and Michael inside. But as they go up the stairs to explore the top floor, it becomes clear that an unsound structure is the least of their worries.
Whoa, look at this. Look at this staircase out here. Oh, there's somebody there.
No way.
Yes, see their light. They're out there. I swear on my life. Right there. Should I say hello?
Yeah.
There's somebody out there. Let's go back to the car. This way. If it's somebody wanting to talk to us.
Let's go to the car now.
Oh yeah.
As the camera pans to the window, the outline of a person holding up a light can be seen on the staircase on the opposite side of the building. Disturbingly, as soon as the uploaders turn off their light, the other person does the exact same thing, indicating they were watching and didn't want to be spotted. Chillingly, if you rewind the footage to when the YouTubers arrived at the top floor, you can clearly see a light outside the window frame, but it's unclear if the light was coming from the same person who was watching them. After calling out and receiving no response, Brian and Michael decide to go back to their car to avoid getting jumped or worse. It's hard to know what exactly the intentions of the other person were, but what's even more disturbing is the fact that there were no other cars in the area when they arrived and when they left, which means that whoever was there had arrived on foot and probably been there for a while.
Excuse me, I need whoever is in charge of regulating to come forward. Excuse my language, but I am at the point where I'd rather fucking starve than believe that there is any plausible explanation as to why everything is contaminated. You know, like in movies, you see the crazy people running around. It's like, oh my God, it's in the water. It's in the water. The FDA came out a couple days ago saying that bottled water was highly contaminated and issued a recall on water. I don't know if they know this, but we already fucking drank it. You cannot convince me that we are not experienced like the F word. And F word, I mean, because I don't want to say it and freak people out. Anybody explain to me why they just came out and said tap water is highly contaminated? Like the stuff we've been using, drinking, washing our dishes in, eating food with, cooking with is highly contaminated, and released a map showing you in what areas you should not be consuming the tap water. If that wasn't bad enough, let me show you something. You guys remember how all these mysterious water main breaks are happening, like in Atlanta where they did not have water, and I think they still don't have water? I'm not too sure, but now Pittsburgh drinking water has multiple violations and they say you shouldn't be drinking it. And if you just go down, there's other places that are say they have smells of chlorine in the maintenance drinking water distribution tanks. That's not bad enough. You have water utilities that are opposing federal PFAS drinking water rules in court. Oh, that's not bad enough. They're finding lead in drinking water too. If you don't believe me, I will show you the map that says that these are the top 5 states where you should not be drinking the tap water or using it because it has forever chemicals. A map has revealed the 5 states with the most water systems where drinking water has been registered as above the proposed limit for PFAS. For those of you who don't know what PFAS is, it's per and polyfluoroalkyl substance, and it's known as the forever chemical. There are thousands of man-made chemicals that can be found in water, and also non-stick cookware, firefighting foams, grease-resistant food wrappers, water-resistant clothing, your drinking stain repellents, and fucking carpeting material. It is used in the industrial process and manufacturing. Air emissions, wastewater discharge. Oh, why is this crazy? Because if you have an exposure to high levels of PFAS in contaminated drinking water, it can result in things like increased cholesterol, changes in liver enzyme, hormone disruption, and increased risk for thyroid disease, and bottom line, cancer. So if you live in these states, New Jersey, Massachusetts, California, New Hampshire, and Pennsylvania, you have the highest contaminated drinking water systems. Stop with the tap. Whatever you do, leave the tap shit alone. Be fooled if you don't. You see the little blue dots all over this map of the US? Oh baby, that's where the contamination is the highest, and that looks like everywhere except for where the fucking White House is, if you ask me. We can't drink bottled water. We can't drink tap water. We can't eat dairy because it's contaminating everything. What are we supposed to do? Don't even get me started on the farming industry being in shambles right after Bill Gates literally buys the largest amount of farm possible, to the point where he pretty much owns every farm out here. Yes, we're starving and we're being thirsty.
Rest of the bathroom. Sadly, some of the rooms in the school are filled with books, whiteboards, and other perfectly usable materials that could have been donated to another school before the building was abandoned. But nobody seemed to care enough to give them away before the school was abandoned. About half an hour into the visit, Chris climbs up to the roof, which in itself is pretty risky. Even if you don't care about getting caught by the cops, there's still a very high risk of the roof caving in, especially considering the state of the building when the footage was shot. Fortunately, he was able to climb down safely, but that's when a strange noise could be heard coming from the other end of one of the hallways.
Safe is still here. I wonder what's in it.
As Chris explores one of the rooms, a strange howl can be heard in the distance, and as he raises his camera, you can clearly see a shadow moving behind the door at the far end of the room. By this point, it's pretty clear that not only are multiple other people in the building with him, but now he's possibly being stalked. Once again, Chris draws his gun and prepares for an encounter, but he doesn't find anyone in any of the rooms. After this, he admits he's ready to call it a night and decides to head home, but not before this final encounter.
This place is weird as hell. Oh, here it is. This place is crazy. I remember the last time I explored it. Hello? Hello? What? Okay, I know I heard somebody coming down these stairs. I'm out.
As he struggles to find his way out of the school, the sound of footsteps can be clearly heard on the stairway directly above Chris's head. But after running up and calling out to see if he gets a response, nobody acknowledges him. Luckily, he was able to walk away unharmed and has continued to upload videos of his visits to abandoned places pretty frequently.
And that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. Before we go, I want to give a huge shout out to Crazy Tracy on becoming the channel's newest member. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate your support. Peace and blessings. And to all my reactors, Sherry, Top Rope Takeover, Lulu, Jessica, April, Joe, Jen, Tawana, and ER. And to my day ones, Pilgrim, Rachel, Mumsy, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. If you haven't already, please take a second
to smash that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell,
just to make sure the algorithm knows what's up. So what we gonna do, y'all? That's right. Run these numbers up. Thanks again. Until next time.